I am Sean Webb, and this is Your Superior Self.
Hi, this is Zach Poitras, and this is Your Superior Self.
I'm Andy Mant, and this is Your Superior Self.
Hi, this is Sue Jackson, and this is Your Superior Self.
I'm Ginny Sarasvati, and this is Your Superior Self.
What's up, everybody? I'm Aubrey Marcus, and this is Your Superior Self.
What is up, Superior Nation? Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Your Superior Self. I'm Trey Downs, and it is a beautiful day to say yes. And that is the message in this episode with Jan Hogrewe, saying yes to the universe and letting it show the way. A lot of people are afraid to say yes because they fear what's next. They don't know what's next, and they feel like they won't have control of their destiny, or they won't have control of the next step. And you got to have faith. You got to have faith that things will start showing itself to you, no matter what it is that you choose to do. Even if it's the wrong thing, the universe will show you that it's not what you're meant to do and guide you in a different direction. And people that are kind of shaking their heads like, what are you talking about? I have experienced this for myself, where I have asked the universe to show me the way and things start happening. And I know that you know what I'm talking about. When you put your hands up in the air and just say, what is next? Most of the time, it will show itself. But you have to listen. You have to watch. You have to be conscious of that. And kind of, if you have to, take notes about the things that are popping up in patterns. Because most of the time, those are the signs that you need to help you out. And I promise you, just say yes to whatever it is that you want to pursue, whatever your passions are. Don't be scared to take that first step and go after it, because the universe will help you. It will point you in a direction that you need to go. I mean, my story is continuously developing by the universe, by my inner power, and I just feel like if I say yes and stay open-minded to things, I will develop more as a person, as a human being. I will develop as an entrepreneur, and I will have opportunities pop up that I never expected. And things will come out of left field and be like, oh, now that makes sense. So the message behind today's interview is just saying yes. And we have a deep conversation. This episode was recorded right before the COVID pandemic. Lockdowns were taking, I don't know if they're lockdowns, but stay-at-home measures were put in place. So the tone of the interview is kind of like, where are we going from here? What is the universe going to show us? So I really enjoyed this conversation, and Jan is such an inspiration. So here's a little bit of her story and her advice to those who may be questioning their purpose in life.
Well, what would you say to the people that are just drudging through their day jobs right now?
Wow. Well, obviously, from what we were speaking about earlier, which is to listen, to be open to listening to the universe. Even just a matter of jotting things down, like what you like to do. Again, I didn't have a clue. And that didn't happen for probably a year or two after I kind of put that out there. But just being open to listening to what's there, I think really helps. And even if you're just starting a little bit on the side, like you're doing your drudgery or the work you don't want to do, but start, gravitate, or maybe spend a little time, even if it's a half an hour a day, looking at, okay, well, you know what? I really like to do this, and spend a little more time doing that, whatever that is.
And for those who don't know who Jan is, she was very successful in the film industry. She had built her own business, her own production company, and she didn't feel fulfillment. She wasn't truly happy, and she noticed that she had an overabundance of figs in her backyard, and she was put in a situation where she basically didn't want to waste figs, so she started producing different recipes and different things. And she actually went to a meeting with a friend, and for some reason she gave this person a sample of her recipes, and he said that this was better than anything on the market. And would you be interested in doing this for a living? And her answer was yes. Yes to an opportunity. Yes to starting a business that she had no experience directly in that field, and had no idea how to market her products or create her products in mass production or anything like that. But she said yes, and she trusted the universe that it will show itself and show the way for her to take, whatever steps that she needed to take to get to where she wanted to be. And that's why I love this conversation today, because she basically tells her story and reiterates the fact that you just have to have faith, and it starts within. That we have this power inside of us that we don't want to accept, because we are scared of failure and scared of people looking at us in a negative light because we didn't achieve a certain level of success that we thought we would, or that they thought that we should have. And I'm here to tell you that as long as you're doing the thing that you love to do or are happy doing, that is the thing. That is the happiness. That is the success. And to keep going, keep pushing. If you're lost, like, I promise you, the universe will show something. Will show you the next direction, the next step. Like, all you have to do is ask. Like, seriously, try it right now. Wherever you're at in your life, if you're stuck or if you're in a position where you're just frustrated and you're getting ready to quit, I promise you, close your eyes, ask, what is my next step? Please show me. I am open to any and all suggestions. I'm open, and I just need help. But you have to listen. Like, you just have to take a couple days, reflect on that, and look for patterns, and the next way will present itself. And I hope that this interview, I hope that this conversation with Jan helps prove that. So, without further ado, here's my inspiring conversation with Jan Hogrewe.
Hi, I'm Jan Hogrewe, and this is Your Superior Self. Oh,
Jan.
Company name.
Perfect. Perfect. How are you, Jan?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, Jan. Thanks so much for joining the show. Your story, it is very, very different.
It is.
So why don't you go ahead and fill my listeners in, because I love it.
Thank you. All right, then. How I got started, I guess, is where we're going to start, but I will take a couple steps back from that.
Sure.
Because that's part of how the story begins. I was in the film business for a long time. It was my chosen career. Went to college for it. Was always interested in the entertainment field. I worked for Warner Brothers for a number of years. I had a production company with my husband at the time, and producing special features and behind the scenes and that type of thing when DVD was booming. And over the course of many, many years of that business, I felt that the creativity was waning for me anyway. And it was actually, the business was changing. And I kind of put it out in the universe, if you will. I remember I was reading an article in More magazine, and there was a woman that had been interviewed. She was a lawyer and decided that, you know what, I just don't want to do this I don't love what I'm doing anymore. I'm dreading it. And she went into, I want to say it was like growing herbs for local restaurants or something like that. And I thought, wow, she quit being a lawyer and she's growing herbs now. Anything's possible. So I kind of, if you will, I put it out in the universe. I really did. I thought, I want to do something different. And I was going through a lot of personal changes and challenges at that time. And kids were getting ready. They were in their senior year in high school. I have twin daughters, and they were getting ready one more year, going off to college on two coasts. and taking care of my mom with Alzheimer's, and just a lot of things happening. And so in the meantime, I had a fig tree in my backyard that I planted, not knowing that it would ever be the source of a business, but it grew hundreds of figs. And I thought, well, okay, we've got to do something with these because I can't eat them all myself. So I decided to make jam with it. Well, I played with the recipe. I tweaked it. I've loved being in the kitchen since I was a young girl, baking cookies, making candy, sweet tooth here. So I decided to make fig jam for family and friends. So I would give it out at the holidays and, take it to wine and cheese parties. And anyway, I was meeting with a friend of mine at the local Starbucks, and he wanted to talk about his documentary project. Still, I was in the film industry. And I brought him a jar of my fig jam, and he in turn introduced me to a gentleman that was sitting there that was in the food business. So he wanted to try it, gave him, one of the little stir sticks from Starbucks, gave him a spoonful. And he said, wow, I like this better than what's on the market today. Would you ever consider doing this for a living? And I honestly didn't hesitate. Like some spark of creativity that I hadn't felt in so many years literally lit up. And I thought, okay, let's do it. What do I have to do?
Jeez.
So,
isn't it crazy how the universe works?
right.
And to have faith into that, like to put it out into the universe, like, how did you even know, like, to do that?
So I don't know. I think I was inspired by that article I read, like I said, and I think, when you're going through a lot of trying times, I think, I don't want to say you talk to the air or talk to my dog. I had a golden retriever at the time. So you just kind of almost talking to yourself, like, I really want to do something else. And what is that? What is that? And kind of trying to search your brain for what am I good at? What would my skill set be? Looking at it in a completely different way as opposed to just listening, I guess. So I switched gears from trying to figure it out to just being open. And in being open and listening to this question that I was asked and taking the opportunity to say yes, I think it's quite remarkable, to be honest with you, that I just happened to hear it the right way, instead of saying, oh, no, I can't do that. That wasn't even part of the equation. It was literally a yes. And then I immediately went to the grocery store. I saw what fruits are in season right now. What else could I make? I like mangoes. Let's get those. I like pomegranates. Let's do something with that. And I brought back groceries or bags of fruit and produce to the kitchen and just dove in to what I, dove into different recipes. But yeah, it is amazing that I was asked that question at the exact right time. And I decided to listen.
I think that the universe like tests you too. Like, okay, you really want this thing? I'm going to put it in front of your face. And if you say yes, then it's meant to be. If no, then stop bitching about it because I'm not going to present it to you again.
Right. Exactly.
That's how I feel like it is. I mean, you put it out there to the universe and the universe hears you and he's like, all right, we'll see how serious you are about that. Let me go ahead and test you. I mean, how crazy is that? Like you're already in the movie or the film industry. And then here you are talking about a documentary and someone taste test your stuff and they're like, this is better than anything on the market. And that's like the universe saying, are you serious?
Yeah, it was.
Let's go. And you dove in head first.
Like wild abandon.
I mean, 2 seconds in, you're like, boom, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, starting a new business at that particular time of my life was probably, most people would have said I was out of my mind.
Why is that? Because you were at the ending stages or what?
Well,
of your career?
Ending stages of my career, ending a marriage, shipping 2 kids off to college, taking care of my mom who had Alzheimer's. And
what? Wow, man.
So all of those things were happening in a 6-month window. So yeah. And recovering from hip replacement. Let's go there too.
How did you do that though? I mean, how did you manage all that?
Oh my God. I don't know. I actually asked a girlfriend, I said, when do you know if you're having a nervous breakdown? And she said, well, you're not curled up in a corner, are you? I said, no. She said, well, you're going through major life changes right now, all at one time, like 5 things happening. So you're just acting normal. I mean, you crying or having emotional ups and downs is normal because you've taken on a whole bunch of stuff and you're starting a new business. So chill out, have a glass of wine, you'll be fine.
Well, did you
but
ever have an experience starting a new business before?
well, yeah, actually. So I've been mostly self-employed my whole life. So when I was in the film industry or worked at Warner Brothers for a couple of years, and then my husband at the time and I started our own graphic design business and started doing titling and kind of still had a little finger in the film industry. But we started doing services. Well, we were doing production for DVD, and that was our own company. So we did a lot for the studios. They were our customers. So I worked for them and then they became my customers. And so I wasn't afraid to be on my own. I had no fear. That's the other thing though. Having no fear in an industry that you know nothing about other than that I love to cook was like, okay.
So you didn't have any like background as far as like a business degree or anything like that. You just kind of had this blind faith that I love to bake. I love to be in the kitchen. I'm going to follow what I love and I'm going to see where it goes.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I did hire him. He said, I'll consult with you. He had his own line of food products. He had frozen food. And he said, I'd be happy to consult with you if you want some help. So I did hire him. And then I'm kind of a do-it-yourselfer, big time.
Yes.
So I ended up just rolling up my sleeves and going to meetings with him for his own product, just so I could absorb the language, because there's a lot of, it's a different lingo. I mean, there's things you have to know and learn. And so I would go to packaging meetings with him. And I minored in college in design and art. So I decided to design my own logo and my labels and the story and just and then I made my own appointments. I just started looking at what do I need to do to understand this business. I visited fruit growers in Central California to find out about how they, do they get rid of what's called bee fruit. So the bee fruit kind of goes, it's secondhand. So it might have a blemish on it or a bruise or whatever. So it wouldn't be markets don't want to take that because they don't look as nice, but yet they're great for other things. Anyway, I went there. I went to different co-packers to see who would be able to make my product just like mine, but not have to make thousands and thousands of jars, which was a challenge, of course, because a lot of these companies, one place I met with, they make product for the Kirkland brand for Costco. So that was out of the question because I'm a startup thinking I can't produce that much product and then try and sell it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I got off track here.
In your kitchen? You started out in your kitchen and just, kind of took orders or whatever and then just filled those orders or what?
No, I actually didn't. So when I started this company, there were no cottage licenses available in California. That was not a thing. I met with a food scientist. I asked him how I make this product so that I'm making it the same way a co-packer would make it. So meaning my results are 4 or 5 jars. They're going to be doing hundreds of jars. So I need to know how to scale up my formula so that I know what I'm getting and that when I send it to them, they'll be able to make it the same way.
So consistency, right?
Yeah, exactly. So all the recipes, of course, started in my kitchen, and I had, I guess, I don't want to call it dumb luck, but just, I guess, some sense of knowing I would make some recipes that I liked, and then I'd store them we had a wine cupboard, so I'd put them in the wine closet, and then I'd look at them over time. And some of them don't look so good after 6 months. I mean, if you're mixing red and orange, what do you get? Brown. So I kind of had to take my time to develop the recipes that I really wanted. Don't ask me how I came up with 8 to start with. I don't know why. That's probably crazy number. In fact, my co-packer said, why don't you start with 3? You're new to this business. And I'm like, no, I'm going big or going home.
I love it.
So yeah. So I started, so they all did start in my kitchen, and then I sent them off to the co-packer. So anyway, I visited like 5 or 6 different places that already made jams and jellies, because after visiting the fruit grower, I quickly realized that economies of scale were very important in this, what we call a penny business. Going from budgeting film projects to budgeting jars of jam and jelly are completely different. But anyway, so.
Well, the market's different.
Pardon me?
I said the market's different, totally different.
Oh, completely different. So they started in my kitchen. I finally, after making a bunch of phone calls and finding the place that could, possibly do it, and they already got figs, and they made their own raspberry jam. And I thought, okay, let me send my formulas. Oh, and I met with them. The gentleman came out to meet with me and tasted my product. He's their chef there and food scientist. And so I sent him all my formulas, sent him samples of the product, and waited. And I'll never forget the day the box came back with 8 samples, 1 of each flavor, and took my samples out of my fridge, and I did a side-by-side test. And 6 of the 8 were exactly like mine. I'm like, oh,
wow.
We're here.
That's
we
crazy.
did it. So just had to tweak a couple. So the long answer to your question is, I never ended up selling it out of my home. I went straight to grown-up jam making.
Well, that's awesome.
Spreads,
that's
actually.
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of people have to, they have to slave in their kitchens for, a while before they can get to where you were at. And the consistency is the best part. I mean, the hardest part is to make it, the same way on a larger scale. Like, that's so hard. I mean, that's why Starbucks is so successful, is because they can make it at this grand scale, but have the same consistency.
Right. Right. No, it is. It's a challenge. And it's, anyway, it's science and chemistry.
But it's crazy,
and I never did any of that in school.
But it's crazy how the universe works for you, right? Like, I mean, you put this out there, and then I'm sure that you've noticed along the way, like you definitely had some resistance, but that's just like your North Star. Like anything, right, that you're meant to be doing, the universe is going to test you as far as, throw some obstacles in your way, but resistance is your true north, letting you know essentially that you're doing the right things. And you keep going, and then the universe is going to throw you a bone here, throw you a bone there, and things are going to happen for you. And then essentially you end up doing the thing that you really love the most. And that, it sounds like it's what happened to you.
It is. And let me tell you about this one bone that actually allowed me let me justify spending the money, that I had saved to do this, and know that I was doing the right thing. But I was at a packaging meeting, and we were at a restaurant, and the woman at the table seated next to us was listening to our conversation and came over, and she said, I couldn't help but overhear, you are in the food industry. And we said, yes. I mean, I hadn't been co-packed yet, so I was still just making samples out of my kitchen to take to people and say, here, try this, try this. So she said, well, I buy non-perishables for home goods, and I would love to talk to you.
Oh my
So I literally, we had a meeting 2 weeks later. I made sure I had all my samples gathered together and all my ideas for what else I wanted to do with the line, and went and met with her for 5 hours.
Jeez.
No joke. 12 to 5. My kids were actually texting me saying, Mom, do you need a sleeping bag? How's everything going? So she said, I will wait for you to get co-packed, and I will launch you nationwide. And that was the gift that I mean, we are best friends now. She is no longer in that position for purchasing my product. But that was what I needed to say, okay, I can actually do this. And I already know that it will be able to sell in a store, which is incredible. So that was a nice bone. I would say, like you said, the North Star, the resistance. I met with one distributor who tried to talk me out of doing any of this. And he said, well, we buy Beau Maman, and this is a very hard business, and you're in a crowded category. And I can't even tell you, I mean, nothing that came out of this gentleman's mouth was a positive for me. And I walked out and I thought, ugh. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. There's always room for more, and mine's different, and it's excellent, and I know it, and I'm going to keep moving forward. I don't need you. So clearly I resisted the resistance.
You resisted the resistance.
I did.
Well, it's like your gut, right? Like you just know in your gut. Like if you believe in
Yes.
your product, if you just believe in what you're doing, your mission. I mean, I don't care. You don't need to be successful. Like you don't need to be like if you're doing your passion, like if you really love what
Exactly.
you're doing, like why do you need somebody else to verify that, right? Like you're doing the thing. You don't need
You
somebody to say. You don't need somebody to say, "Hey, that's a great thing." You know, like you're
No, you're right. And actually, what you just said is when I'm asked the question, what would you say to people who want to start their own business? I use those exact words, which is you've got to trust your gut. Just finished reading the Malcolm Gladwell book, Blink. And those 2 seconds really matter. So trust your gut and follow your passion, because if you're doing what you're passionate about and you love it that much, you will be okay. You'll be successful. And it is a lifestyle choice. It's not, you're not going to be drudging that 9 to 5. I've never worked harder in my life, but I've also never loved what I do more and can't imagine doing anything else. So you're right. Exactly what you said is that's like my advice for anybody wanting to start something new. Is like, trust your gut, follow your passion, and don't be afraid to ask for help. It's okay.
Well, what would you say to the
So,
people that are just drudging through their day jobs right now?
wow. Well, obviously, from what we were speaking about earlier, which is to listen, to be open to listening to the universe. Even just a matter of jotting things down, like what you like to do. Again, I didn't have a clue. And that didn't happen for probably a year or two after I kind of put that out there. But just being open to listening to what's there, I think really helps. And even if you're just starting a little bit on the side, like you're doing your drudgery or the work you don't want to do, but start, gravitate or maybe spend a little time, even if it's a half an hour a day, looking at, okay, well, you know what? I really like to do this. And spend a little more time doing that, whatever that is, and see where that takes you. And you'll meet people and they'll gravitate toward you and maybe what that is or what, and they also are passionate about that, or, it's just, and it takes a community. I mean, I'm not doing this alone. This is taste testers. These are, customers, my kids who had 1 million peanut butter and jelly sandwiches when I was developing the different flavors, to your friends at wine and cheese parties. It's it's okay to ask for help or to be part of a community. And so that was the long answer to your question, but yeah, I just say listen to what's going on out there, and maybe spend a little time doing what you love.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Like what resource was so valuable to you that helped you along the way? Like everybody has like a place that they go when they're surrounded by doubt. Like what did you use?
My resource that helped me along the way. I would say that, sorry if you can hear my dog.
No, it's good.
Okay, good.
I could hear it, but it's fine. Trust me. Trust me. There are times on the show where my baby is in the background. It's authentic.
It's what we do. It
Yeah.
is. I'd say okay, sorry. I
No,
got
you're
distracted.
good. Like, so, like, just think about this, right? So like when I'm down, right? Like I always go to my favorite go-to book is right behind me. It's actually the I can't even say it. It's like the Indian mystical book,
Yes.
Bhagavad. I just say Gita.
Yes.
I can't even say it. It just reminds me, because I'm a creative, right?
Right.
And it reminds me that it's not about the fruits again, right? It just reminds me that it is the work. It is
Yeah.
I have the right to work, and success. It is the success in my work is finding my true self. It's not the rewards, the external
Right.
rewards. It's the eternal being that's inside of me. Knowing that and being reacquainted with that is the reward. And
No, that's true.
but you always get blinded by the breadcrumbs, the success, the downloads, the fans, the letters, blah blah blah. Like those things are very distracting, but it's not that is the gift. The gift is knowing who you are down inside and meeting that true self. And
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's absolutely true. I think I didn't do this thinking, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire. That wasn't even it. I did this thinking, oh, I'm going to do what I like to do. And hopefully what I do translates and people will like it too. And if they do, great. And if they don't, that's okay, because I'm doing what I love and I know I'm doing the right thing. I know it every day. I know it when I meet people, if I'm out at a demo or at a public event, and I know it because I still love to get up and do it every day. There are parts of it I don't like spreadsheets and that, but hey. But
where are you at
have
now,
so
though?
many
Like,
things I want to create.
where are you at now with the business?
So I launched with product. So kind of that year and a half before the launch part, having product and going into Home Goods and a couple other great places like the Queen Mary here in Long Beach. Mid-May is my 8-year anniversary. And so where we are now is, of course, right now is interesting times for sure.
Sure.
And aside from that, I'm just looking to continue, obviously, to grow. We have an award-winning tangerine sriracha that my partner Chris, who joined me about 2 years in, developed, as he thought we should try and expand, be not just on jam and jelly aisles, but maybe somewhere else. So he's also been working on a gluten-free flour blend and a snickerdoodle cookie mix. So we're doing a little gluten-free stuff because, not that we need to be, but we've gotten quite a few inquiries on it from the baking that I do. When we go to shows, I bake with my product. Like I'll put, the raspberry in a thumbprint cookie, or the fig goes into oat bars. There's over 100 recipes on my website, so you'll see what I'm talking about. We do a lot of culinary stuff with it. But so where we're going next is to continue to expand that and to expand the line. I just finished a cherry that I really love. I can't wait to put that out. Haven't done the labels yet, but we're getting there. And just keep experimenting on other fruits, other ideas, other products that kind of come into play here. And
that's so creative. I love that.
It's so fun. And I love cooking with it all.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So you're in Whole Foods?
We are not in Whole Foods. We are out here in California. We're in Bristol Farms, which is a gourmet retailer that has been a huge supporter of us, which is great. They're big on helping small, unique companies, which is awesome. I did just launch a raspberry curd, nice, creamy, delicious. It's so good. Anyway, it's in Cost Plus exclusively nationwide. Okay. And Williams Sonoma, I've been making their curds for them, their Meyer lemon curd and their key lime curd and all the other flavors that they have had throughout the years. Those have been worldwide. So that's helped. Excuse me. But so no big chains except what we're doing.
Well, that could
out
be a
here in
good thing
California.
too, right?
So,
I mean, it keeps you guys at the grassroots level. I mean,
and I love that.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you can get me some over here in Baltimore.
I will.
I mean,
you got to tell me where to send it. Absolutely.
I'll definitely.
Yeah. We have a map on our website now too that's up to date, and it actually has all the stores listed from here to the East Coast. So there are a handful here and there. I can't remember where they all are, but we've been kind of branching out this last 6 months. We've been a little busier sending nationwide.
Awesome.
So
how are you doing right now with everything that's going on with the coronavirus and all that?
Well, considering I just heard about 2 minutes before I came on with you that Los Angeles will be locked down as of 11:59 tomorrow. I'm not sure how to answer that. To be honest, let's see. Well, my kids are here. They came in for their birthday and a wedding, and they're not leaving. So I feel from a business standpoint, a lot of unsurety happening. And I feel a sense of wanting to help where we can. I mean, obviously, we'd love people to continue to place orders and be, ordering product because I'm ordering stuff because I don't want to go to the stores. But we're also putting it out there that if people want help on canning whatever they have, or if they've got produce that they can't eat fast enough but they want to preserve it, I'm actually working on something right now to kind of put it out there that if you have any questions, you can, direct message me through our different social media, which is under just Jan's Spreads. But also email us through our website, just jans.com. and happy to give you like the simple formula of here, if you've got this, how to kind of preserve it so you've got it for the long haul, should this be the long haul.
Sure.
So I feel kind of like I want to help. I want to help how we can. I feel like we are clearly we're all in this together. So the more that we help each other, I mean, for me, it's all about community and sharing anyway, because it's food. And that's part of what I love about being in the food industry is the sharing and the community factor of it all, and how people are always in a good mood when they're eating food. Come on. it's kind of a cool,
especially some nice, delicious jam.
Exactly. And you can pair it with cheese, and it's not just for toast, and you can put it in a cocktail, which, trust me, I'm going to be working on a lot of cocktail recipes over the next however long we're locked down.
But you're so true though. It's like we got to band together in this. Like the more that we separate, the more that we fight over dumb stuff, like it just separates us, and it just creates more isolation, and it takes us back, it's like the opposite direction. If we want to get through this, we have to work together. We have to think of ways to help small business owners, how to help ourselves. I mean, it's just going to be a trying time. The last thing I want is for us all living in Central Park in Hooverville again, 30 or whatever, like intense. Like that's the last thing, right? But the only way we can get through that is to band together and think and solve this. Like we can, we can't solve how to, cure ourselves. We can definitely solve how we get through this.
Well, and how we interact with everybody. I mean, you're right. I feel that I've never seen, and I'm 58 now, so I've never seen, such a division in the country or in the world, really. And we are global. And I think that it's how we treat each other is going to impact how we get through this, because I see the stress level just in my own house with my kids. And I mean, they're 27, but, with their friends and all of us trying to do something that's so foreign to all of us, which is, social distancing and working out of home because you're locked down. I mean, it's crazy times right now, but I feel like the more we are patient and kind and try to work together to solve this, meaning everybody needs to stay home. Let's flatten that curve. Let's listen. Let's be aware. I think that all helps. But
well, it's just so
scary.
Crazy because it's scary because people just don't, the media and with Trump, and we just don't know what to believe anymore. Fake news, all that stuff. It's like
true.
People thought it was
Hoax.
the flu. Yeah, everyone thought it was a hoax. Now it's like, oh my, now it's serious. Now we're shutting down. Now it's like, the government's trying to control us, see what they can get away with. They're selling our data. They're trying to manipulate us. Blah blah blah.
Cutting out.
Yeah,
Where'd you go?
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were just cutting out there for a second. I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. So I was just rambling about.
That's okay. I've been rambling a lot lately.
No, you're good. But what was I saying? Oh, I just got off a call not too long ago about instead of calling it social distancing, we should call it physical distancing. Just because we're distant doesn't mean we can stop talking. Like if anything, you can use the technology.
Excellent
right?
idea.
We can still use technology.
I like
to connect.
that. Yeah, thank goodness we have FaceTime, we have Skype. There are ways that we can connect with other people, and we definitely should do that. You're right. Physical distancing. I like that. I'm going to use that.
You go ahead. Feel free. You know what?
I'm going to put a tagline next to your name.
Tag me in it. Let me know. Put a picture of jam in there. It's a flavor that I would definitely enjoy. Do you have strawberry jam?
I do have an organic strawberry. It's
that excellent. Is my joint right there. That is I love. Tag me in that.
Shipping you that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. LA, it's gonna happen in LA with the domestic shutting down, and then it's gonna happen everywhere else. I mean, California was the first state to go into a state of emergency, and everyone else just followed.
Yeah.
So
we like to be the first here in California. It seems.
I know, right?
On a regular basis.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's insane. I mean, for my kids, it's different. And you were talking about your kids and how it's different. I'm learning. It's a good thing. I think it's a great thing actually for my kids and I, because I'm learning who they are as a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. I hate to admit it, but I was very busy previously in work and with all the things that I have going, and now it's kind of like I'm getting to see them, especially with homeschooling, like seeing how they're
Right.
applying their gifts to this school and getting to learn who they are as people. And I think it's a good thing. But, again, I think you have to be open to it. Like you were talking about, like, yeah, I mean, there are some fears, but you have to be open to the experience. Like the universe happens for you. It doesn't happen. Like it doesn't happen. How do you say it? Happens for you. It's not happening against you. Like everyone wants to say,
Right.
oh, this happened to me. This happened to me. Da, da, da.
No,
Happening for you to grow you to grow. Like we're here for
it's
growth.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're here for
It's
growth.
happening, and it's how we deal with that. I think it's how we deal with it. Like you say, I mean, I didn't expect to have, I've been living alone for 8 years and did not expect to have my girls back, which I'm loving. My daughter one lives up in the Bay Area. And since they shut it down first, she's like, well, I go, well, let's go get your desk out of storage and you can work from home here. So, and I think I'm glad we're all together. My other daughter is here. She and her boyfriend are here, and we're all understanding and kind of what is the word I'm looking for? We're just kind of figuring it out and how we all can cohabitate, and we're all helping each other out, and we're all, cooking, and we're doing it together, and we're relying on each other for community. And we've got our little community right here, and my dog, and I'm grateful that they're here, but no buts actually. But you're right. It's not happening to us. It's just happening, and it's how we deal with that.
It's just different, like you spent 8 years by yourself, and then now you got a house load.
I know.
Now it's like,
I
what
know.
are you gonna do? You're gonna have to make some adjustments, but it is there to help you grow in some way. There's a lesson in there. It's just hidden. You gotta kind of
You're
find
right. Actually, and I was thinking about you and your kids. I will send you a couple different things only to promote if they want to learn to like bake a recipe. I'll send some recipe cards along.
Oh,
And that could
amazing.
be maybe one of their projects is to bake something with the product that I send.
Oh, definitely.
If you want to do that.
Definitely. Now, listen, kids, Jan is expecting some good product here, so make sure you follow the recipe.
I got to send the raspberry because that was my daughter's favorite when
Really?
when I was going through all this. I'll send you the strawberry too, but the raspberry is seedless. So
Now,
it's smooth
how
and
hard is it
silky.
to make with kids, though?
Thumbprint cookies. I was thinking with put the jam in the center of the thumbprint. Oh my God, they'll have a great time. Are you kidding? Yeah. I'll send you a recipe.
How long does it take to make some jam?
Well, some recipes, you mean in my development stage, some take longer than others if you're talking about me doing that. But if you're just making jam and you've got some extra fruit, like we're talking about helping out, it doesn't take that long. Some take more time than others. It's just, it's simple ingredients. It's the fruit, a little bit of sugar. I don't use a lot of sugar, by the way. I might want to note that all of my products are less sugar, so they're not even a jam or jelly. Doing that, I think, because I just wanted to taste the fruit. The sugar helps to preserve. It helps with the texture. So a little lemon juice, and if you have pectin, great. And if you don't have to. You just let it cook longer, and sterilize your jars. Make sure you cook it long enough so it kind of starts to thicken. Pour it in the hot jar. Put it back in a hot pot. Cover the lid and boil it for about 5 to 8 minutes, and then just leave them for about overnight or 24 hours on the counter, and then you can store them away and they'll last. So what you just did, the last phase is pasteurizing it so it'll last longer.
Sounds so simple. Sounds so simple. I don't know why I don't have my own jam company.
Get going here.
Yeah.
We should talk.
I know, right? I'll be your East Coast distributor.
Perfect.
So I'm looking at my whiteboard right now, and my daughter just wrote something up here. She it's funny how she spells too. She's like, "Keep doing what you're doing. I love you so much. Have a great interview." And she spelled keep with a C, CEEP, and then she spelled interview INERFEW.
It's so cute.
So looking back, and you talked about your daughters, like, they look at your life and you look at your struggles, like what lesson do you hope that they pick up from you?
Well, I want them to definitely, the lesson would be to do what you want to do. Don't stop dreaming about what that is. I know they have to find their way and their path and their own passion. I would never want anyone to tell them they couldn't do that. It doesn't matter how big of or how high the bar is, because we've seen that you can be and do anything you want. You just have to go for it. And I don't want to say you have to be in the right place at the right time, because you don't, but it doesn't hurt. But I think it's a matter of finding your passion and kind of finding your groove. I was told, someone told me the other day, and not recently, I'm going to call you Stella, because you're in your groove. And I think that's a cool thing. I'll be called Stella all day long. And I think that's kind of what they need to do. I know they've both had a couple of jobs, but they're starting to fall into where they feel passionate and they like what they're doing. That's so important. So that the lesson would be to not be afraid to do what you want to do and go for it. I think the only person that would be stopping them would be themselves. So that, and be open to, like we've talked about, be open to change, be open to possibilities. Don't, look at things that you might not necessarily look at, but maybe just give it a second glance just to see. And also, of course, trust your gut. So that would be, I say that all the time. You and I agree on that one.
Trust your gut. Well, because you have feelings about things, right? Like, what you're passionate about.
Right.
And you're the perfect example of that, whether you put something out in the universe. I just had an interview the other day with a guy, and he was like, his saying is, shoot for the moon, and always shoot for the moon. Everything that you do, you shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you hit a star.
That's cool. I love that.
Yeah. And it's like, put it out in the universe, trust, have faith. Like, having faith is the hardest thing, because it's like, you always want to have control of something. Like, you always want to be in control of your destiny. And it's not that at all. The universe wants you to think that you're in control. That's all. That's why we're here. We're here to learn our path, like to learn it and find out who we really are. And the universe is going to throw us, different obstacles. And what it's trying to do is just help us grow and remember who we truly are. Like, who we define ourselves. We're not our jobs. We're not our hobbies. We're that thing inside of us that fires up when we do things like creativity, like producing a fabulous jar jam, or producing an amazing episode on a podcast. Like, that's not who I am, but the being in me that created that's who I am. And we need to remember that. We need to remember that. And that's the thing that just, my kids, I hope that I can, hopefully communicate with them later on in life, is do what makes you happy and what brings that light out in you. And don't drudge through life resenting all the time that time is precious. Like, that is our most important asset. We can't get time back. I can get money back.
No.
All the money that I just lost last week, I can get that back.
Please.
I can get that back at some point. But the time that I've had with my kids is paying dividends right now. Like, the time that I'm spending with my kids at home, like, is worth every bit of this experience.
No, absolutely. And you're right. We can't get time back, and we have to, and it's so precious. And of course, we're seeing that amplified right now on such a different scale. So I think it makes us even appreciate more the time that we have to spend with our family, which is why I'm glad my kids came down for their birthday.
There you go. That's amazing. Jan, what do you want your legacy to be?
That's a great question. Sorry. I'm losing my voice here. You've done 2 back-to-back interviews, so have I. Excuse me.
You're good. It's a tough question. It's tough because it's not, it's what you want to be remembered for. Like, you want, not the kingdom, but the reign.
Right. I would have to say, the first word that comes to mind is gratitude, of course, and being grateful that I have been able to spend this time doing what I love to do, and sharing that. So I guess, again, goes back to sharing and community and love and support of one another, and knowing that we're not alone in what we're doing, that we have made an impression on someone, not in an egotistical way, but even in the simplest way, excuse me. This and allergies does not help. But yeah.
But I got what you're saying though. Like, my goal is to like express like that community in like a loving way, and like not holding back that love, right? Like being 100% transparent with that love and loving somebody with my entire being that is not necessarily related or a part of that, my inner tribe. It's like loving my neighbor as myself. It's hard for me to do. It's very hard for me to do because it's like, the ego always wants to like judge certain things and say, oh, they're different in this aspect, or they're different in this, or they're doing this. And then like that community, the idea of community and like loving somebody as yourself. Like I really want to get back, at least try that or at least do that for, however long I have left on this earth is
right.
Stop having these thoughts about what society is supposed to be and what people are supposed to be doing, and just love them for who they are, and just like really genuinely love them, because essentially we're all the same. I mean, seriously, I agree. We eat and breathe. We all need water to survive. We all have emotions. We all are driven by the ego, and some of us fall asleep to that for years and we never awaken to our true beings. But some of us do awaken, and some of us do realize what we truly and who we truly are. And then we realize like there is more to life than just these external rewards that we think fulfill us when they don't. Those are just breadcrumbs, and the feast is something much more. It's something that is the dinner is held inside internally, and we need to find that. And I don't know, I'm rambling right now, but I think I love this conversation. I love everything about this.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I am too. You can call me anytime. This has been fantastic.
I want to say thanks to Jan for joining the show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Please leave a rating and a review wherever you get your podcast from. I love the support. I love the feedback, positive or negative. It doesn't matter. I just love that you guys are listening, and I hope this helps you. I hope that you guys find some inspiration behind some of the content, and I hope that you guys are working towards the thing that makes you guys happy. So if you want to find out more about me, you can do that by going on social media, on Twitter at DownsTray and Instagram at TDowns80. Hit me up, let me know, check me out at yoursuperiorself.com. Leave me a message and let me know how you're doing. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope you guys have a great week. I'll talk to you later.